Society since 1988. So, long time
I
member.
could say I was really young then.
Yes, yeah. Judy has taught classes at TCU, UTA, been invited by doctors to work at Baylor and other hospitals in the area using her distillations, I guess you could,
The essential oils and different products I make from herbs we grow organically.
to work with recovering patients who are
Hopefully recovering. So.
She's a teacher, counselor, author, lecturer, and she's traveled and studied indigenous cultures for 20 years. I think the pandemic took a lot of wind out of a lot of people's sails. And I think Judy quit going to hospitals then, and who wanted to be there if you didn't have to? And yeah, so we are delighted to have her here with us this morning and hope. I'm going to just hold up a book that I've enjoyed through the years that Judy wrote. I told her the other day when we were talking, do you believe you wrote this book? And she said it's still in print 25 years. So it's very informative. Recipes,
Medicinals,
yeah,
skincare.
all kinds of ideas. And
What's the title?
What is the book?
What is the title? We can't read it.
Mother Nature's Herbal.
Thank you.
It's here today if you want an autographed copy.
Oh, you have some here?
Yeah.
All right.
And her new adventure, which I didn't know about until I was down at Round Top, you can go on, see Judy on your TV, because she has a new project.
YouTube's.
Yes,
Yeah,
Channel.
on YouTube. Y'all are gonna be on it too, so
That's
this is
what-
gonna,
I
this is
saw
gonna
the
broadcast
camera
on
over there.
YouTube. Everybody's gonna hear about the Fort Worth Herb Society.
Thank you.
And I thank you for having me here. Are we having technical difficulties?
Yeah,
I'm
still.
shocked. So, we're going to start.
You are on, Judy.
I don't know if we want to do show and tell, or we just want to start talking, but, I know most of y'all know your herbs really well. If you don't, you will soon. And, so I'm gonna start talking about some of them and some of their medicinal qualities. Now, the whole point of Mother Nature's Herbal was, after thousands of years, all the things that they said that these herbs did, clinically and in scientific research, worked out to be true. So there's something about herbs that are true to our heart, and they're a part of us, and they have the ability to help raise us up, to help give us energy and give us healing in lots of different ways. Sometimes it's just a good mood. Rosemary is really good for helping us have good memories. And to have memories, we're getting so old, we're thankful to have memories. And I use it a lot with patients that either have dementia or Alzheimer's, and it does help them. Not for huge amounts of time, but we spray it in the room or a little bit on them. And herbs like you to wear them, okay, in some form or another, but smelling them works just as fast. And if you've heard any of my lectures on this aromatherapy, it basically, what you smell changes your brain chemistry, and then very quickly everything else going on in your body in 1/100th of a second. So you can blink, and that's how fast inhaling some of these herbs can help you. And rosemary is, now this you get from old cultures. It's good for the knees. And they say weak knees. I'm not quite sure what that translates to now, but knee surgeries are one of the biggest things going in the medical field between that and hip. I've asked, I can't take pain medicine, so I always ask, is there something new coming up? And they say, no, we're making too much money on we're too busy, replacing knees and hips. So rosemary would be a good herb to help us keep ours going, to make the most of it. It's excellent for low back pain also, and most people don't really realize that, because it's an herb that people use for headaches and memory and things like that. You have to realize that people with hypertension or seizures, you have to have caution using rosemary on the upper part of their body. And in fact, if they're very seizure prone, I would not be using rosemary at all. All as good as these herbs are, they're going to have properties that we have to be careful about. And for me, it helps my memory, and it gives me a boost, and it gives me more energy, and I don't feel sad or anything like that when I'm around rosemary. But other people, it can start a problem. So when you're working with yourself, that's easy. If you're working with somebody else and sharing, then you really need to find out more about their situations and their chemistry to give them the most effect. We still don't have,
You want one of these pictures over here?
yeah, I do. I used to. Would y'all like me to pass that rosemary around, or y'all pretty, would you? There are a couple different rosemaries that grow well here, and the ARP and the Hills Hardy are really good, although in 2020 and then again recently, we lost like 60 huge plants. They did not make it through the really, really cold weather. So, and if you have trailing rosemaries, forget it. They're not going to make it through any of our cold weather. We have just a few different kinds of basils. Woo! This one's really adventurous. Beautiful plants. And I'm going to pass. Is that a lizard?
Why, I picked a different
You don't want me to scream.
No.
You said if it was a mouse,
I didn't smell
it was dead. I would scream.
It's not a mouse.
No, it's a gecko.
No, it's a little,
I had one in my house before trying to catch.
A gecko?
Is it alive?
no, no, it seems to be petrified.
She's very dead.
I'll show them around.
He's dead. He's DED.
It's just so you know.
We'll
was
have
in
the
there
funeral,
quietly.
we'll have the funeral soon. So basil is good for adrenals. Your adrenals in the body are your body's batteries. It's like your body doesn't work like a car wouldn't work if it didn't have full batteries and a battery charge. And basil is a type of herb that helps that. It is used in Ayurvedic and other ancient cultures for mental health. It's an antipsychotic, just smelling it. It helps people with mood imbalances. They're happy when all of a sudden they're not. And it's very important just to have it in a room like we have it today. You can put it in a vase with or without the lizard. And it will infuse the room with antiviral properties. So I think that's the most important thing. With all the viruses going around, you can bet that basil, you don't have to do anything but smell it, is going to help keep that down in your room.
Is Corellia related to basil?
I'm sorry.
It smell, I thought for long as I had basil in my yard, it smell like basil, but my master gardener said, oh no, that's Corellia.
That's great.
Perilla is related to
What is that?
basil.
Can it be used?
And it can be used like that. It's usually used
She said
in
basil.
cooking. It's not
I've never
as
seen that color.
aromatic, and it doesn't have the
smells like
strength to be used as much as an
Which way is
antiviral.
this going?
Okay? The kind I'm talking about are the kind that we just grow every year. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a difference between holy basil and basil?
Yes, there is. Holy basil is a different plant, obviously a cousin, and it's not much of a cooking herb, but it has the qualities to help the moods, to help antipsychotic properties. It has that in it, and it also helps to charge up our batteries in our body, the adrenals. And your adrenals are hooked up to your brain in such a way that when the brain puts out neurotransmitters, it's the adrenals that talk back to it. And until the adrenals talk back to it, the brain's got no clue. It put out those neurotransmitters, but it's not getting any communication like my computer right now. So we don't have pictures. So it's a really important thing for your health and for your memory and just in general, your body to have basil around, it's really, really important.
So there would be a good plant to have like in an open space office then?
Oh,
Where-
yeah, you could have it in an open space office, and, you know, you can introduce people by just making some pesto and bringing it, and then they'll all be interested in the basil.
Yeah, I usually
Right?
put it in my quiche.
In the quiche, that's interesting, yeah. I'm Italian, you know, both sides, so it's pesto for me. So I'm just gonna go by some little notes of what herbs I was going to talk about. Chamomile is one that is very good. We know it's good for digestive things, and we know it's very relaxing. It's also one that we use. I've worked in hospitals a lot. I worked at Baylor 20 years, and we worked a lot with cancer patients of every single kind. And chamomile, many of the herbs, but chamomile was one that really stood out in helping people with certain types of cancer, especially. We have research on that. I have done some very recently passed YouTube lectures on that. They're not formal, it's a sit down, and I just talk about the herbs and which cancers they're good for. And so you may want to check that out. It's Aroma Health Texas is the channel.
I just had a question, and you may address this. As I've gotten older, I've become more allergic to random things, and chamomile's the latest. And I consumed it for years, chamomile tea. Last year, my eyelids started swelling shut, so I quit. So do you run into things like that as in an aging population, or am I just weird?
I don't want to talk about anybody, but
Okay.
it's not the norm, but
Okay.
yes, as you're getting older, everything can, you know, change.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes, I don't know about your plants, but I know with essential oils, because we make our own essential oils, and other herbs that we grow, some of it's what's been sprayed on these plants.
True.
And they can say organic, and that really doesn't mean a whole lot. Nobody spanks their hand for saying it's organic. It's organic because it's a plant. So it can be sold as organic, and we're saying, oh, it's really good, it doesn't have pesticides on it. Not
I grew mine from
necessarily.
seed. I do grow my chamomile from seed, and it self-seeds. And this was from a self-seeded plant that I harvested last year, and so I don't have any clue.
Do you think it has anything to do with the soil? I'm gonna do some research on it.
Yeah, it would
And
be
I'll get
interesting.
back through somebody.
Okay, that'd
Do
be
you
interesting.
have a reaction to daisies?
No.
Okay, because it's in the
I know.
daisy family,
I know.
and
The
that's why I'm
daisies family
asking.
is about as big as
Yes.
any, it's bigger than the mint family.
I had some old chamomile that I thought, I wonder if it's still any good. So it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, I tried it out. It made me sleepy.
Oh, yes,
Not
it
bad.
will.
But when
Oh,
you,
yes,
and
it
then
will.
nothing, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, that's carbohydrate. I mean, that's organic.
That's organic,
And
and all
everything is,
plants
we're
are
all
organic.
carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen.
And we are organic
So
also.
we're organic.
That's good to know. My organic side is aging quite a bit. I want to mention eucalyptus, because we can grow eucalyptus here. I grow the lemon eucalyptus. And it's really good for, of course, breathing situations. It's also good for pain, like back pain and muscle pain, things like that. And it's not going to make it through our winters, so it'll grow quite large. I always grow it in pots, and then bring it in. You know, my home looks like a nursery every year, but
It's a dragon plant. You drag it in.
you drag it in. Lemongrass is important, and that one, people are always telling me how they use lavender for ADHD. Well, it doesn't work. If you have a grandchild or a child, or you yourself are considered ADHD, lemongrass is the herb that you want. It has properties that work with GABA, which is one of the 4 major neurotransmitters coming from your brain, and of course, it starts in your stomach, and it comes from carbohydrates that you eat. So lemongrass is good for ADHD people. You know, all you have to do is just be a better diagnosis than what the doctor could do. You have them smell lemongrass, and if it calms them down, they're ADHD. The rest of us, it might actually build us up and have us feel more perky, right? not the ADHD. You can give ADHD kids coffee and it calms them down. So don't give them peppermint. One of my twins was ADHD, or still is, and peppermint never touched his lips, never. Chamomile worked real well for him. So lemongrass is also one of the most anti-cancer herbs we have, and most anti-cancer plant. It is just across the board good for most any cancer, and that doesn't mean you drink it. You know, we're using herbs topically or we're inhaling them. I am not a take internal essential oils. You know, we have big black bag sacks full of herbs, and we get 1 or 2 little herb drams, like you see here, of essential oils. So believe me, we don't need to put all those chemicals in our body. And I know some things like lemongrass, you can make a tea and such like that. Well, yeah, then you drink it. But basically, compressing is excellent for how you want to use herbs. Your skin is your biggest immune organ, so you immediately get it going through your circulation system. And you know, if you take it in digestively, it has to go through all these things to get there, these processes, okay? So if you want to inhale it, that's very quick too. It's immediately quick. And lemongrass is pretty good unless you have a problem with citrus, and some people do, especially topically. It's not a huge part of the population, but otherwise it's a very benign plant. It's very good for cooking. You can make compresses with it. You can make teas with it. I take lemongrass and add it with chamomile. There's a recipe in Mother Nature's Herbal, and it makes a wonderful tea. It tastes good, but it's kind of like, instead of going to the bar at 4 or 5 or whatever they do, I would have my lemongrass and chamomile tea, and it would just get me through the rest of the evening with a good mood. You know, I had my kids, I had 3 teenagers at once. I had twins and then another one, and they were just, then I quit drinking wine. I'll tell you for sure. It's like, it has to be the wine. You know, the doctors told me for 30 years I was totally infertile and I could never have children. And that means they just kept multiplying, you know. Better stop. Lemon thyme is another way to get a lemony scent and taste into your diet, and it's lemon thyme is excellent for any kind of bugs like flus or colds and things like that. I would always mix it with sage, and I'd have that double protection. And thyme is a very strong, thymol is very strong. It's like they make Lysol from it, okay? So it kills 99% of every kind of bug you could think of. And, but again, the essential oil is not meant to be taken internally. If you use it, use the herb, make teas, cook with it, it's delicious. But it's very, very strong in its properties, and you don't need to use a lot even in your cooking. It's meant to just be a little accent. But when you're putting your herb bouquets in rooms and such to kill the bugs in the air, because that's where viruses are, then you can add lemon thyme to that. It's easy to grow here. Lemon thyme and sage are here all winter, so I feel like they're here and growing for us to take us through the winter and to keep us healthy as we can be. You can ask questions, you know.
What about tinctures? When you were
Tinctures,
talking
meaning
about the-
alcoholic tinctures, they're safe. They're safe. Is that what you mean?
Well, when you were saying that you didn't have to take it internally, you know, that you could just do it externally, is like with the thyme, is it exponentially stronger in the tincture?
The essential oil is the strongest. And a tincture, depending on how much herbs you pack in there, is how strong it's going to be. And, you know, in hospital, especially with bone marrow, they started me with bone marrow and stem cell patients. It's like, you know, they had 15% chance of making it through the surgery, and maybe then as long as 3 weeks. because this was a while ago when I started all this, and they were still learning, and, you know, I couldn't give them things to drink or even, you know, and I could use a tincture, and I put it on the bottom of their foot when they were better, okay? And, that definitely did take effect, yes it does, you know, and you can still smell it in that tincture. And if you don't wanna use alcohol, you can use, vegetable glycerin. It doesn't last as long as alcohol. Alcohol's gonna last forever, but a vegetable glycerin is gonna last 6 months to a year if you don't refrigerate it. But it's a very good idea, very good idea. Let's see, I wanted to talk about marigold mint, because we're the only one who can hear me? Okay. Marigold mint's the only herb that we make an essential oil of. We're the only ones in the world making essential oil of marigold mint, and I've been doing it for 20 years. You'd think somebody would have taken advantage of me by now of that information, but I've used it topically, the essential oil and the herb as a compress. Oh, and here it comes. We used it for precursors to cancer, for skin, okay? We used it on skin cancer, yes, but, you know, traditionally, and what we said is we only used it right before a skin problem turns into a cancer, okay? But it was topical, and we use the essential oil that way. It has a licorice scent, so people who do not do well with licorice should be careful with this herb. It has a little bit of an estrogenic property, and people don't realize how much some herbs can make, or essential oils, can make a difference in our body that may not be good. And if they're estrogenic, it's not a good herb for somebody with a female type cancer. With a male cancer, you just have to ask. But if it's hormone related, I would not use it. And lavender's the worst one. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And everybody's, you know, they're using lavender in hospitals for breast cancer patients. It's like, anyway, you know, when I started in hospitals in the 80s, my big first project was to convince the board to give the mental patients, it was in a mental hospital, water instead of Coke or 7-Up for their drinks. That's all they had to drink. And I did a big research project to prove how good water was. I mean, in the late 80s, nobody was walking around much with water. So, you know, sometimes hospitals don't have all the things needed. They don't think about some of the stuff that we do. And if you're researching in your herbs, lavender is an estrogenic herb. Marigold mint is an estrogenic herb. Sage can be. Sage, and especially clary sage. So, you know, you have to watch who you work with, and especially children, because I'm having people come to me with 16-year-old son or grandson that have quite developed breasts, and it's from their mother putting lavender on them for ADHD, which doesn't work, for years, or putting them in baths and putting lavender in it. Young kids under, really, with boys, you don't want to give them lavender until they're totally grown, you know, like men. And women, if you think about it, well, as women it won't make a difference. It's estrogenic. When you're putting lavender on a 3-year-old or a 10-year-old, you're adding that property to them. And some people, not everybody, but some people are very sensitive to estrogenic. They pick up estrogenic properties easily. And so with herbs, we have to be careful with that. Not only with essential oils, which are very strong, but also with our compresses and even smelling it. And when you diffuse a room with essential oils or a bouquet of herbs, you want to make sure that you know everybody that's going to be in there, that you're not going to be making things worse for them in any way. Do no harm. There's no sense growing and using herbs if you make people sick. I'll get to you in just a second, ma'am. Marigold mint blooms right before we start getting cold weather in Texas. So I just thought I'd mention that. It's an old Mexican whatever, but it's true. It does that in Mexico too. And you can bet you're going to have cold weather in 3 weeks or less. So.
Do we use the flowers as well as the leaves on the Mexican mint marigold
For your
compress or whatever?
yeah, for your compresses,
You
sure.
can use the
Yes.
flowers as well.
Yes, I would. That's the most creative properties, and I
It makes
like
it
to,
pretty.
I like to get all of it in there. What was your?
Well, I was just thinking, you've got a dog, and we're often cautioned about herbs being diffused or sprayed or anything around animals, and I think people sometimes forget.
That's a very good point. Even I'm careful even what I wear. Sometimes I really want to put peppermint on to help with more than an ache or pain. It's like I feel all my 75 years all of a sudden, you know? And I think I can't do that around her. So peppermint, tea tree, lavender, most dogs can do okay. And really, she's 75 pounds. If you had a 12-pound dog, it could make a difference too. I was telling Linda that I had this goal to gain 3 pounds because I thought that would be so easy to do. And so I really worked at it, and I tell my dog every day, I'm going to gain 3 pounds. And she's like, okay. Took her to the vet for another reason, and guess what?
She gave you the 3.
She gained my 3 pounds. I didn't get anything, not an ounce. I ate all that for nothing. So anyway, they're very connected with us, okay? They're very connected. Cats can be very, I have friends that cats do well on lavender, but I, in general, do not recommend, especially diffusing a room or not washing them with essential oils in the water or wearing a heavy something or another smell of those herbs when you're around them.
Thank you.
And children
How
especially.
about birds?
Pardon me?
Birds.
Birds don't have that kind of smell. I've used essential oils on birds, very, 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 very diluted. And herbs as compresses. I had this one that it would pick out all its feathers. And, you know, it's kind of like somebody that's pulling out their hair. But anyway, the birds do fine. And they live longer than us a lot of times, too. So they have some kind of situation, but they don't have that connection to their brain in the same way. This little girl last year she had a seizure, and that really blew me away. And it's not that unusual with dogs, I found out, but still, I especially don't want to have any scents around her that are going to be detrimental. Tea tree is terribly toxic, and normally people use that a lot, but you have to be careful around your dogs, because when we put that stuff on, it's in our system within a minute, and it takes 2 hours after you put on a compress or essential oils before it's really out of your system. So keep that in mind, because you may be going to visit Aunt so-and-so and you don't want to bring the wrong smells in there with you, okay? Very good point. I appreciate you bringing that up. We're going to talk about lavenders. There's so many different kinds of lavenders. And we grow Provence, and we separate our lavenders. They don't anymore. Commercially, when you buy lavender essential oils or lavenders in general, you just get a mix of whatever. Well, most of those are not very medicinal, and that's what we're looking for. So we grow the spike, the lavender Provence, and that has a beautiful scent. And the spike is very, very medicinal. And if you have the right situation and the right dilution too, that, if you're doing essential oils or a combination in a compress, you don't have to just do lavender. You can put lemongrass in there with it or something else. Lemon citral is very cleansing, and so is lavender. So to put them together can be a good combination. or if you're doing a tea. I really don't like lavender tea. Rosemary tea, if you like it, we're probably not friends. It tastes so bad to me. I was so stupid, I tried it as lemonade one time, and I ruined all those good lemons. It was just awful, but it's meant to wear. And lavender I think of as one meant to wear and smell. You know, to me, essential oils are considered more medicinal absolutes of lavender and these different herbs, which are made totally different. They have the